Welcome back to Paint Daubs, and it looks like our dog. No, dog's still trying to come back. I don't know where the dog actually is. Is it injured? We haven't even checked on the dog. Where is this poor little dog? Let's just go and have a quick look. If you weren't watching the last episode, our dog did get smacked around a little bit. One of these two. We don't know which one it was. So let's just go across. Yeah, this one's back. We should have a bruised. Yeah, front left leg is bruised. Okay, they've been attacking the mooses. Let's have a quick look at the other ones. Got rat remains in through there as well. So we just go back across now. The pets and livestock. That's the same one. This is some sort of doppelganger, but anyway, oh no, it's down in here. This one here is health is no problem at all. Just look at a description. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so even after being pummeled badly by that moose, the dog is actually still okay. Now, one thing we might have a bit of a look at, actually, with others, yeah, still got the bull mooses are still on the actual map itself. So that's we've still got those wandering around, but I now have all of the animals now sort of close to where we actually are. One thing we might have a look at is I do want to see what that message actually was. The hands of Uthergalis. So let's have a look and see what that actually is. And to do that, we need to go into the Legends mode, and I'll show you how to actually now get the Legends mode established. Now, what we have is we've got our current save that we're sort of currently working on. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be actually getting rid of our current save and then going back in and opening up what we saved from here. So we're just going to press escape. We're going to save and continue playing. So in this case, we're going to save the version that we will then switch across to for the fortress mode, and then we're going to retire this fortress. So we go, how would we like to do this one? I'm just going to call this one fortress. So just so I know I'm playing the actual fortress itself, press enter. So that will be the one that we do. And this one that we're actually currently in will become our Legends mode. It'll make sense, I think, when we start to see the files. Now, I'm also saving between episodes, just so I can go back if there's a crash or something like that. I can go back. So I'm going to have a lot of different sorts of saves. So by saving them with names, I can then go back and just double check. Now I know that I'm going to go back to this fortress mode and play this as the fortress. So anyway, we'll let that one save. And so now we have a saved version back in the main folder, and what I can now do is I can actually retire this particular fort. So if I now just press escape, I can retire it for the time being, or I can abandon the fortress. Now, if I abandon the fortress, it becomes a ruin. If I retire it, they technically are still alive and doing things. So you're better off just retiring the fortress. So we will retire. So really retire. The world will be saved, but you will need to unretire the fort to play here again. Now, if we do that one, we have to then go forward again in time, but let's not do that. So save world and return to the title menu. So we'll do that one. So save this to the timeline. Recommended. I could save to a new timeline as well if I wanted to, but I'll just do it this way. So now we've got multiple versions, which can get a little bit confusing, but I sort of keep track of, we're playing in a world that the game is called the Infinite Land, and so it has like random names for everything. It's really amazing. The game is just phenomenal, like just the way it sort of does everything. It's like there's nothing sort of half done with this game at all. Anyway, it's saving the world. There we go. And now what we can do is, you can see that we can say start a new game in an existing world. So we've now gotten out of our game. So if we wanted to continue an active game, that's the current fortress that we called fortress. This one here now, we can go and have a look at this one. So we're playing on the Infinite Land inside this side. So we can just use this now for our legends. So we'll just go back across, open her up. And so rather than start a new fortress, we just go into Legends mode. It then loads back in pretty quickly. And we've got all these historical figures. Now, I'm guessing that Hands of Uthergalis is going to be a historical figure. So let's just go across and start typing this in. So Uthal. Oh, there's heaps of them. Heaps of them. It ends in Daz. Can we see the Daz anywhere? I've still got a few more. Ethel G. Here we go. So, all right. So this is Uthergalis in through here. This is Osprem Uthergalis. That's got to be the same guy. the hands of Uthelgestas. Now, I don't know if this is the actual, if the hands mean that it's something that has been created by this necromancer, but we've got, this is a human necromancer. Was born in 192, hasn't died yet. Let's have a look and see. So this one is a human necromancer born in 192. Was the eldest son of Campka Latheredstick and Ursa Driventrade. So anyway, it's got a whole lot of heroes. So now Osprey became lovers with ape focus banners. Became a thresher in these different human colonies. Yeah, went sort of wandering around, I guess. Became obsessed. This is when they start to think about becoming a necromancer. So in 227, Osprey became obsessed with his own mortality and sought to extend his life by any means due to envy that those that live on. And so the dwarf necromancer Udib Belsinks taught Osprey the secrets of life and death. And so Osprey then settled in Massive Steel. Now, we don't know where these things actually are. Like, this is where I'd love to have the old version where I could actually go back and look at the map to see, okay, well, that's the one that's near us, or that's somewhere else. This will be a tower somewhere. And he then began his apprenticeship in 228. It wasn't that long ago, actually. And so then he is essentially sort of then creating a course on the human. So he's actually then writing treatises and so on and so forth, back and through here. So now this is interesting. So Osprey so he's creating all this stuff. Then he starts to perform horrible experiments in Del Beauty, which is another would be another. What is this place? It's an Elvish retreat. There we are. So he's actually done. He started experimenting on different things in this particular area. We'll go back and have another look. So. Oh, okay, here we go. It's now mentioned. So he performs, this is in 239. Osprey preferred horrible experiments in Del Beauty. Osprey changed the hand of Uthelget's Music Deep from an elf into a hand of Uthelget. So he's actually called some after himself. So if we go to this one here, this is actually what it's now warning us about. And so this is Alala Music Deep, the male hand of Uthelget. Now, it did say hands. I wonder if there's two of them. Let's have a bit of a look again. That's a hand, or the hand. So this has changed the hand, this from a dwarf into a hand. So it's actually created multiple of them. Wow. All right. What are these things? So Alala Music Deep was a hand of Uthelgestas, born in 227. He was the only son of Karaka, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to know all that stuff. A one-eyed humanoid. It has a short tail. Its charcoal skin is waxy. This night creature, so we're looking at a night creature here, was first created by the human necromancer, so Osprey, at Massive Steel, of Massive Steel, after horrible experiments on the elf Alala Music Deep in Del Beauty in the year 239. In 234, the elf is Saint Tusk and Alala became childhood friends. This was before the change. In the mid-spring of 239, changed from an elf into the hand, and then got other things in through there. So that's one of the hands. At least we know where they're coming from and why they're called the hand of Uthelgestas. This just becomes more and more complex, doesn't it? So we've got. He then's moved on. He's done other experiments, but hasn't actually done anything where he's created other night creatures. So we've got Alala Music Deep as an elf. Then we have this one here. This is the hand of Uthelget's Arab Free Standard. So how many of these has he created? A hell of a lot. So he's actually experimenting with like in different places all over the place. There's heaps of them. So this necromancer and he's done that in a very, very short period of time. Wow. All right. This blows me away. I love this stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time, but there's a lot of them. Are they all the same? Let's go and look at, they say, a dwarf. Does he have the same description? Okay, so now this is... Hang on, this is the same deal. A one-eyed humanoid with a short tail, yet charcoal. This night creature was first created by the human necromancer after horrible experiments of the elf Alala. This is a different one, though. This is a female hand. So it's still the same elf that is experimenting on here. But this is a different person that has come from this one here. Does it mean that there's multiple of these? Change Doran from dwarf into a hand. Yeah, so this is actually a change. Then Doran settled in Lake Battle, became a chiefess of the Geared Disembowelers, fought in the Sacred Sieges, and was struck down by the elf. So some of these have actually died. Now, what's Lake Battle? Is Lake Battle a forest retreat? Okay, there we go. So it's actually they can, when they're in this sort of form, in the Night Stalker type form, they do become other things. So we have to be careful. Now that may mean full moon. These may be not were creatures, but it still may be triggered that way, but we don't know. So we have to be a bit careful. That's interesting. It looks like there's a lot of them around, and there's probably a lot of them that haven't actually been. Yeah. So it starts off with Alala Music Deep, and then becomes Edgel was struck down by the giantess with the end Price Spoon. Okay, interesting. So that was in 240. Yeah, so there's a fair few of them. If we go back to Osprey again, so it all come from this particular Necromancer. Here we go. So Osprey was eventually imprisoned by the Society of Adventuring, and is now sort of in prison in Reined Bears. So yeah, did he start experimenting there? No, but he was caught there. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. Anyway, let's go back to the game. Yeah, so now when I come back in, I can then just basically pick up Paint Daubs from the folder Fortress, which we saved. So we've now got this one in here. We'll just go and grab that. All right, so it's actually still basically a new moon. So we've got probably 2 weeks of game before it becomes a full moon. So if there is that thing around, then we're going to have to be a bit mindful of that, and we're going to need to get our security sort of handled as fast as we possibly can. So that sounds pretty. Although they have been killed by pretty big beasts. They're going to be tricky if we do find those sorts of creatures coming. It's interesting that the game is actually manufactured a special creature with that sort of waxy tail, a black waxy tail with one eye or something, and sort of now put that in as a big part of the lore of the land. So there's a lot of these things that imprisoned Necromancer did actually manage to sort of get involved in. By the way, we can actually have a bit of a look and see if any of those names actually appear here. I haven't shown the world. I might just show that as well and just combine this with the fact that we're looking at legends as well. So if we just go and click on OK, we can then have a bit of a look on it. This then sort of gives us all of the different sorts of colours and things that we need to sort of be aware of. So when we have a look at this one here, you can sort of see if we go and centre on our fort is right here. So this is the fenced frenzy land in the plain forest. This is a dwarven fortress of Paint Daubs. It's our location. The site governed is the stable rack, and the civilization the mahogany irons. Now these are all randomly generated names. Anything that's blue means that this is actually come across now. This is actually part of our actual civilization. So blue means our civilization. Now this one's in through here. These are Goblin Mountain Halls. These have been taken over by goblins. And again, if we wanted to go back in and have a read of the histories, we could go back to each of these homes. Like this is the Gilded Tower. Is this particular mountain? This is the Goblin Mountain Halls of Youthful Glaze. Now this would have been a mountain hall that the dwarves had started, because it's in the mountains, but it's now been taken over by goblins. The goblins are all over through here as well. We've now got a dwarven tower. Wow, 200 population. That is monstrously big. It's got a heap of artifacts, and that is a dwarven tower. I wonder if this is actually the one. What's this one called? A massive steel. This is actually where that story starts. So we're actually right at the very start of the inception of all of this thing to do with the hand of what's it called? Uthalagathers. The human hand, the human necromantic hand. Anyway, that's this is big. This is going to be hard. Okay, so this now is actually going to make life a bit more difficult for us. Other things in through here, we've got fairly big goblin pits around the place as well. Just looking at the numbers of the different groups that are there. That is actually, that's triggered as well, by the way. That one there is triggered. Yeah, massive steel. Whoa, what a massive undead fortress that we've actually stumbled across. This is great. Everything is compressed into this little pocket. We can sort of click on news and rumours so we can see that there's some information that we're aware of, or there's some things that are actually happening through here. There has been, in the early spring of 250, Lithast Silverend became the mayor of the Abysmal Furnaces. So this is sort of like movement across from the different homes. So we've got like different mountain homes that are potentially being settled in through this side, maybe. Not sure. A group calling itself the Mountain of Eviscerating Reclaimed Raw Swords on behalf of the Urn of Racing. So these are reclamations. Yeah, so these are reclaiming ruins that have collapsed. In the early spring of 250 lore, Earth appears, became sacred skirt of the Order of Larks. So anywhere where there's this little thing around this one through here, in the early spring of 250, Nigemzo's Seduced Swamp became holy cradle of the gloved Cavern, replacing English plated seal. And so this is, the site government is the Evils of Gore. It's a goblin fortress, which actually was a dwarf fortress. 300 goblins live there. So that's actually that's an evil fortress. So there's a coven of sort of like goblin witches or something that's actually sort of it's just we're getting rumours about what's actually going on in there, which is just fascinating, isn't it? It's just absolutely fascinating. Now we've got stuff that's going up this one. An army of in Nightmare Trample marched on order rinked. So that was some sort of army that came from the goblin pits. There's more goblins that came down this way. So in the early spring of 250, the army of Uti's Demon Torrid marched on sack wars. So there's a lot going on in this world, like a hell of a lot going on in this world. Anyway, we don't have to worry too much about the armies attacking us yet until we actually get up a little bit. And I'll show you that at some other time. Initially, we've got too many other things to involve ourselves with. But I hope that you embrace just what flavour the legends and the world and that sort of does provide, because we're in the middle of this. Let's just go back up the top again. Now what we want to do is we want to start to now, we need to secure our home, secure our lodgings. And we're going to need to plan ahead to have minimal access into the fortress. Now we can do this a couple of ways. I can actually try to build a structure up above where we then sort of box ourselves in. So we could definitely do that. That's one thing we could do. The other thing we could do would be to, in fact, we could do that one fairly easily with what we have sort of here. Or we can go underground and work underground. And I think that's easier and probably more thematic for us to go underground. So let's just go back past this massive area that we had through here with the aquifer. God, that just went on. That's the biggest aquifer I've ever seen. And we wanted to go until we got to the granite wall. Now this is going to be a bit slow to mine out. I'm just going to go and create like a landing at this point. So I like to have like a landing initially. So I'll just go into a landing in through here. We'll channel that out and we'll start to now plan what we're going to go and build. And by all means, like make a big area and then just change it to plan so that you're just containing certain areas as you go. Now, initially what I want to have is I want to have like a door, probably actually a gateway in through here, like if we had a 4x4 drawbridge, that could be quite interesting actually. So let's do a 4x4 drawbridge. Then we'll have an actual door initially, because we won't be able to have the drawbridge initially. Then we'll just go with 2 wide corridor. It then sort of heads into the actual fortress itself. So this will be the only point of access at this point in time for our fortress. Even though we've dug deeper, like a lot deeper, we won't worry about it. Now they're still splashing around in there, just digging up that last little bit of what's going on there. So I'm just trying to think, this will ultimately be drawbridge, and there's no rush for us to do it. The rush is to put a door in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly come off to the sides, and we're going to start to create, I don't need a workshop as such, but I'm going to need some sort of structure. So let's just go with, say, a 6x6 or a 6x7 or something there, and we'll do the same on the other side. Yeah, that's sort of okay. I could even make this into a larger room. It really doesn't matter what we do. Like, it's sort of one of these things where you can get very, very creative with this. We want this to be a choke point. Let's just go and place a doorway up here. And I will want both of these done. And we're going to need to bring everything in as quickly as we possibly can. So let's just go and get those done. I will actually let them continue on mining down below. So we'll just watch them as they go. We'll just unpause. And they are done there. How are they going now on this layer? I'm now going to change what we actually get to see. So I'm just going to go across. You can either press on this one, the hotkey locations, or press H. And so we've got the wagon arrival, which is F1. Let's make this what we see when we have a look down this way, because this will be our front entrance. So we'll call this one the Cavern Gate. So Cavern Gate. And we're not going to have the gate in here initially, but we're just going to center so that when we press F2, so I can now go to F1, go back up to here, and F2 and go back down to here. And so I can start to then plan what's going to be shown in the fortress. Anyway, let's get all these miners working away. And then by having 3 miners, it really does speed things up a lot for us. This is really important. Oh, okay, this is not what we wanted. When you reach the cavern layer, this is not what we wanted at this stage. It didn't even twig that we might actually hit the cavern layer. We missed it with this, but we've actually now hit it with this other side. This does change things a lot, guys. This just changes. Although we're lucky because it's just off to the side, so we have to rethink what we're doing in here. We'll just click on OK and then quickly pause, because we've got to now have to check and see if there's anything else at all that's down through here. So we've now just discovered a deep cavern underground. So let's have a quick look and see if there's any other objects. Whoops, down in through here. Now we don't have any jobs down here at this point in time. I'm going to start them moving things down underground, even if it's just anything at all. So we'll get that going as well, and I'll slowly move stuff around underground, but we have to get it in from up the top so we can just have access to it. So if we go across to the others, yeah, we've got troglodytes in here, and we've still got the bull mooses above. Now these will be inquisitive and aggressive, so we don't want them at all. What we're going to do is we're just going to quickly stop them from now mining any of this stuff. And we now have a completely different complexion on what we have to do. Now, luckily, we have all of this area that we can now move into. The cavern, let's have go up a layer. Yeah, so this is tall. This is a tall area. So this is interesting actually, because that's the aquifer. Then that's the end of the aquifer, and then basically we've got the cavern layer in through here. Now that's actually an interesting area through here as well. This is actually something we could ultimately block off relatively easily, and then put our animals there. So this is something for the future. But we're actually coming in from this other angle here. All right, let's just change what we're doing here. Now we want to get rid of these. And we need to keep on digging down this way now. So at least we've got full access out through this other side. And then ultimately we'll end up having the front of the fortress will now be over this other side over here. But in the meantime, we do need to then start to make use of a big area underground here. So we'll just go into this area and create like a large work area essentially in this area initially. So just make that one go to there. We'll then create like a doorway in there, and another doorway at the other end there. And so rather than having them build, this is the usable area. I'm just now going to go back across, going to go into here and just change this one from standard through to marker. So let's just go and do that. That way they'll build all of this. Now the other thing we want to do is we definitely want to stop this. You can walk through diagonally. You can't build through diagonally, but we can walk through diagonally. So we've now stopped them from going through there. We'll now just go back into the build area and go with constructions, walls, And we want to create a wall there, just a block of wall. There's granite right there. We'll just grab the granite. And so somebody else will now come back down and start to work on that. And we have to get that block before the troglodytes come in. There we go. Great. We now have security again. So there's no way through. The troglodytes, I don't know where they are. There's one. We've got these troglodytes sort of wandering around the place. And at least that sort of stopped them from being a problem. Now let's have a bit of a look. We can see a little bit of stuff around here. We're not seeing any water anywhere. We're just getting like a little bit of an idea as to how big the caverns actually are. So that's the cavern layer. And going up, it does go a long way up as we sort of have a bit of a look. So it does extend all the way through here, but at least this is nice and flat. And so we might, if we go to the next layer down, if you can sort of use this area on the top here to just get a bit of a feel for, you know, what's under cover. So it's only like one level. Like if we go up through there, then just keep on going up. This one does go further up, but that there is just a single layer area. Like I go down, up, down, down. It's just on one layer. This is actually really quite nice for us to start to make use of, but it's not urgent just yet. That's for the future. So we'll think about that in some time. We still want to just have the one access point coming in. So we'll just now let everyone sort of come and dig these out. And now we'll get the multiple miners in to really quickly sort of channel their way through here. What I'm going to do is I need them to quickly bring down as much of the stuff upstairs as they possibly can. So we're now going to go and create another stockpile. And we're just going to paint it from anywhere really. Just this will do initially. It doesn't matter what size it actually is. So paint the area, and I'll get rid of it once we've sort of got things filling up in through this side. We're going to accept the stockpile. We're going to make it all initially. I can actually go through and be very specific, which I will to a degree. I'll just turn everything on. That allows everything we have to be stored in here. We're now going to go to custom, and we're going to turn off the stone. We don't want stone, so we're just going to go none of that. We're going to go to wood and go none. We've already got a stockpile upstairs, so we'll make use of that stockpile initially. Refuse we won't accept either, so nothing in through there. Corpses we won't accept. Leather, gems, everything else is stuff that we've brought. So I want to get all of the things off the wagon and inside. Now at the moment this is nowhere near big enough, so we'll just allow this to sort of come back through. One thing I like about this was we can repaint these very, very readily. All right, now we have a big enough area for a workshop. So let's now go into build, and we have to sort of try to keep ahead of the game the whole time here. So we go now into workshops, and we're going to build ourselves a carpentry workshop or a stonemason's workshop. Probably a stonemason's workshop actually would be the first one that we want. So we'll just go across into stoneworker, because we need to get a door built, and so we get the door built as fast as possible. So we go and grab that one through there, piece of granite right underneath it. Let's just go and get that one built. Now the others to keep on building away into the granite. Look at all the stuff they're bringing in. This is good. It's a good start. Wait for the next little 3x3. All right, so we've got one workshop built there. Let's just build another one right next to it. These are just temporary workshops for us. We'll need to get a mechanics workshop, so we'll get that one done as well. So we'll do that. I'm thinking because I'm going to be having a drawbridge, that will be what we'll end up doing. So we'll go to the mechanic, get that one established with a piece of granite. And I'll eventually get rid of these when we sort of figure out a better way of actually doing this. And we need a carpenter's workshop as well. And that's pretty much all we need initially, just those extra workshops. Now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go into this. We're nearly full through here. So I'm just going to go across and repaint the zone in here. And I can paint this anywhere. I can say, okay, look, I want this to be the zone for this particular workshop. It's still the same workshop. And I think I'll just do that. And actually, I might just connect that one up through there. We can also go back. We'll accept that. We'll just go back to paint. And now we'll go and erase. And so let's actually now erase it away from the door, where we're going to actually have the door essentially attached. So they'll have to come back and reshuffle, but what it's allowing them to do is to still bring things back in, which is great. So we'll just allow that to actually happen. So they'll just keep on sort of bringing things back in as we get more space. So we'll just get these done. So we now actually have, let's go into our stoneworkers workshop. We'll add a new task, and we just want to create a rock door. We probably want to get a couple of these, just in case. So maybe 3. Because we've got a choke point there. We've actually technically got a choke point here, or we will have soon enough. And we'll just get a carpenter's area as well. Now, actually, this is the mechanics. Let's just go and add a new task in here, and we're just going to need to get at least 3 mechanisms, but I'll just get a few more. I'll just get, say, 6 of these. So we need 3 to build the lever and then attach it to the bridge. So 1 for the lever, and then 1 each for the lever again to connect to the actual bridge itself. And we can then actually just have that floating around as well. So that's going to be quite useful. We're getting through this nice and quickly, having all 3 miners working, which is awesome. Okay, and it's coming now close-ish. We're sort of closing in on the full moon. I think we are. Yep, so we've sort of, like, they're still bringing things in from up top. Now we'll just go back and repaint this one as well. And we will actually go back and erase this bit of it now, because we do want to now build the drawbridge underneath here. I probably should have waited a little bit and maybe not place it right there. That now means we have to now wait. But let's go and just make sure that everyone is actually still working. Yeah, everyone's either digging or storing stockpiles or making mechanisms or making rock doors. So we've got less now sort of doing other things, but this is still very, very important work. So it's now going to be, we're now just going to get a carpenter's workshop as well. So workshops, carpenter. And this really is just for us to sort of get established. So I'll throw the carpenter's workshop in there. And then eventually I'm going to go down the bottom of the fortress and actually start to then, or not the bottom, but we're going to go deeper and start to create our actual fortress itself. We're just building all of these workshops out of stone. Now, after they finish building this, they're going to start, like, they're going to go and start to go and grab things, as long as they don't have this thing selected. Now, I'm going to turn that one off because initially we've now done enough for this to be the important part of what we're doing. So the others will now, everyone will now just go back up and start to grab more of the equipment, because we want to get underground and secure as fast as we possibly can. Good. This carpenter's workshop is now done. So I can start to build things with the carpenter's workshop. Now, when we first come, we come with a whole lot of stuff that can actually go into bins, and we don't actually bring the bins with us. So we're just going to go across to here and just go to add new task. I'm just going to go and build a couple of bins, or a few bins in through here, 3 or 4. And just another spare barrel, just so that we've got, if we need to put, or a couple of spare barrels. That will do us initially, just to sort of get our storage under control, and that'll make it a lot easier. Now, if we just go back up the top again, I'll just press F1. You can see there's still a lot of stuff on through here. Now, the other thing is, we've got all these animals. Now, the animals, are they hungry at all? They seem okay. Look, I think they're able to eat the grass a little bit up through here. I don't really want to leave them outside, but in one sense, it's almost safer to leave them up this way. We might create another place downstairs for the animals that don't need to graze. There's only a handful of them that actually need to graze. So let's just go downstairs again, all the way down. In fact, I'm going to change the angle now of that other portion. God, this is it's quite strange what's going on with this. So if we go back and have a look, this will be the angle that I now want to have for the entrance. So I'm just going to go and press H, Cavern Gate, recenter on this one here. So when we press F1, we go back up the top, F2, we now come back to look at this angle here, which is the angle that I want. Now I'm going to go, the door should have been created, so let's now just go and build, build doors and hatches, a door. It should have been built, I hope. No, we still don't have it built. Okay, they're still building it. All right, it's still being built. In that case, we'll just wait. Oh, here we go. Let's see how we close this off. This is why we close these things off. We've got a troll. which we can't contend with a troll. So the troll is wandering around all over the place. Okay, so this is interesting, and this is a what's called. I don't think it'll show it in through here. If we have a look at its skills, we can't really sort of see anything. But its actual one of the skills it has natively as a troll, it's a furniture smasher and a door smasher. So these will sort of smash through doors. Now most goblins can't, but these are essentially a whole other area. If we have a look at the health and then the description, so a huge humanoid monster with coarse fur, large tusks and horns. He is clumsy, weak, and very quick to tire. His grey fur is extremely long. His tall, flattened ears have nearly fused lobes. His teeth are crowded. He has high cheekbones. His narrow nose is upturned. His slightly rounded black eyes have thin irises. His ears are somewhat narrow. His skin is black. And so this is actually sort of what we're dealing with in through here. But it says that he's clumsy, weak, and very quick to tire. That's for a troll, not for... It's still massively, massively more powerful than what we can deal with. So getting the security, that's why we get the security. Because he can't break through a wall, but if that was anything else, he would smash his way straight through and into the fortress. So we're getting... that was interesting, actually, to have that one actually appear. Luckily, we don't have to deal with him. But having seen him now, we sort of know that we really can't afford to do what we were going to do with our plan to go up here. This is now pretty much out of the question. It's going to be too hard, so we'll have to think of another method of getting our farming done, because we can actually use this to sort of get our farming done if we wanted to, but we'll need to actually manufacture a farm. So I'll go through how to use the aquifer. Remember, we've got the aquifer just up to, a couple of layers above, so it's not that far off, so we can certainly make use of that. We've got a couple of layers before we then hit our main fortress layer. Again, we're going to just have most things happening from inside here. I think what I'll do is I'll just let everyone start to bring things back in. Actually, that's what we're going to do, another pen and pasture back in through this side, so we can just bring the others in. Again, just trying to rescue as many as possible if there is any problems outside. And as I'm playing on a much more aggressive world than the standard Dwarf Fortress world, so I'm playing super cautiously. We'll accept this one. And now what we'll do is we'll just go and now grab the animals for this one. So it's only animals that need to graze that I sort of need to keep outside. And what I can even do is I can bring them in for a couple of months if I'm worried about anything, and have them sit inside and then actually go and let them go outside again when they start to starve. Or we can butcher them and actually eat the meat. Anyway, the dogs can come inside, the cats can come inside, the stray horses can't, so they need to go back out there. The guinea cocks, the peahens, the rabbit I think needs to eat. I think they're all stray. None of them have got names, which means none of them are pets. So there's still a fair bit that has to stay outside here. All right, so let's just leave that one there, and then we'll just go back up and go to the top. So just press F1. We'll have a quick look at this one through here, and we did actually the horse. Now it was sort of it ended up being away from this particular area. So the dogs and things are now no longer associated with this particular area. That's actually fine. Now, we're also going to be needing to bring wood downstairs, just in case we end up with any sort of issues. So, God, it's a long way down. This is a long, long way down. I'll figure that out later, I think. Actually, what I might do is I might just go to this all stockpile and just move it off a little bit. Now, we've still got... It's more important that we bring stuff down than anything else. If we're worried, we can sort of, like, if we're worried about trolls, we can then probably wait for them to go and then actually have some other way of getting outside to quickly cut down sort of the timber that's around there if we need to. But at this point in time, I think we'll be okay. So let's just continue on. Bringing more and more inside. So we are secure in here at this point in time. Starting to clean all this up now. We should have that rock wall now, so I'll just go across. Doors and hatches, door. Yep, we've got 2 granite doors. Put 1 door there, and ultimately we'll put a door here as well. So we'll go and throw that one in there. Wow, we're well out of time now. At least we're underground, I guess. So at least we've got sort of started. So we've gone through the legends. That is interesting. That night creature that he's been created. That the undead experimenting is really quite fascinating. Let's leave it here. We've done enough to at least get a door up. Now, if there's a troll upstairs, if that troll was upstairs, this door he would smash it open. But we don't know about night creatures. They may struggle against doors. Some of them will be able to break them. Some of them won't. We just won't know until it actually happens. That's why we need a drawbridge. We'll do the drawbridge in another episode. It's probably a good idea that we do that anyway. We'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. This is fun. I like this. I love this game.